Today is Sunday, so Gita day. So let's do the Gita Dhyanam. Om Parthaye Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayan Swayam Vyasen Grathitam Puran Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Ritvarshini Bhagavati Mashtadashadhyayane Am Tvam Anusandhame Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshine नमो अस्तु ते व्यास विशाल बुद्धे फुल अरविंद आयत पत्र नेत्र येन तव्या भारत तैल पूर्णः प्रज्वलितो ज्ञानमया प्रदीपः प्रपन्न पारि जाताये तोत्र वेत्र एक पानये ज्ञान मुद्राय कृष्णाय गीता अमृत दुहे नमः सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोगदा गोपाल नंदना पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर भोगता दुग्धम गीता अमृतम महत वसुदेव सुतम देवम कंस चानूरमर्दनम देवकी परमानंदम कृष्णम वंदे जगद्गुरुम भीष्म द्रोण तटा जयद्रथ जला गांधार नीलोत्पला शल्ये ग्राहवती कृपेन वहने कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थाम विकर्ण घोर मकरा दुर्योधन अवर्तने सो तीर ना खलु पांडवै रन नदी कैवर्तका केशवा पाराशरे वत्सरोजमलं गीता अर्थनधोचकं नानाख्यानक केसरं हरिकथा संबोधन अबोधितं लोकै सज्जन षट्पदे रह रह पे पिए मानम मुदा भूयाद भारत पंकजम कलिमल प्रध्वंसी न श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघ्यते गिरिं यत्कृपातमं वन्दे परमानंद माधवम् यम ब्रह्म वरुण इंद्र रुद्र मरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्ये स्तवे वेदै सांग पद क्रम उपनिषदे गायन्ति यम सामगा ज्ञानवस्थित तद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यम योगिनो यस्यन्तं न विदुसुर असुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः. We are on chapter 18 and we ended our class looking at the verse number 49, and that's where Lord Krishna is telling us if we control our temperaments, if we really understand what this life is all about, if we have that goal in our mind, because normally we just get tempted by a lot of things around us, and that's how we create more vasanas. But if we remember, the goal is to clean out the vasanas, attain the ultimate. So these teachings are for that personality who has realized that that is my goal. I have played enough with the toys. Now I'm going to go back where I came from. Okay. So what does he say? He is giving us in verse number 49 more guidance. It's almost like he's giving us a benefit of acting according to the temperaments with which one is born with. What kind of desires I was born with, and I need to finish those. And I don't want to add more desires for that kind of a person. Okay? असक्त बुद्धि सर्वत्र जितात्मा विगत सुप्रिया नैष्कर्म्य सिद्धिम परमाम संन्यासेन अधिगच्छति. असक्त बुद्धि, whose intellect is unattached. Sarvatra, everywhere. Jitatma, who has subdued himself. That means the senses, the lower self. Vigat Supriha, whose desires have fled away. Any kind of a worldly desires, they are just gone, no desires. Nashkarme siddhim, action, that state of actionlessness. Nashkarme. This comes from a nishkam karam. So this is a perfection consisting in freedom from action. Okay, it's not that not doing action, but no attachment to the action. That's the freedom. Paramam, the supreme, sannyasen, through sannyas, renunciation, adhigachati, attains. He whose intellect is unattached everywhere. Who has subdued his lower self, from whom desire has fled away. He, through renunciation, attains the supreme state of freedom from action. Let's understand this asakta buddhi first. The intellect that is attached to sensuous things of the world outside knows no peace within itself. So that's why Lord Krishna is saying that asakta buddhi, because otherwise we keep on getting agitated. We keep on getting effect of that agitation of the mind on the body also. So he says, a clean shaven intellect, that is asakta buddhi. Clean shaven means it's devoid of all the attachments with the perception, with the feelings, with the thinking, and then respective objects which are perceived, felt, or thought of. So that kind of a buddhi. So this is the true state of actionlessness. And how do we get this kind of a buddhi? A person who has really worked on the discipline which has been talking about throughout Bhagavad Gita. Because in the case of Arjuna, he was talking tall about detachment and renunciations. And Lord Krishna told him that these are the false urges of the escapism. He said, this is sannyas which you are talking about. This is out of your attachment to your people. You want to run away from your duty because you are attached to your kids and kin. So that's why he is teaching him the true sannyas must arise out of detachment. And that is asakta. Asakta means detachment. Buddhi which is detached. So if it's detached from the world, where should it get attached to? It should attach to only the ultimate goal. Then another word he used, jitatma. So this atma, I said, it's a lower self, which means ego. This is the mastery we need to cultivate. This self-mastery of the mind is impossible as long as there is even a minute trace of ego in us. That's why the next word he used, vigat sipriha. The desires must fly away, worldly desires. So sure, we cannot, if we have a lot of desires, if we have a lot of ego, we cannot even imagine what he's talking about. That's why I tell you that our sadhana should be lowering our ego, reducing the desires, making the desires more and more sattvic. Only then we can even imagine what he's talking about. We cannot just fly into the outer space right away. This is not just imagination. This is a sadhana. Okay, sadhana, which is with a regularity, with sincerity, and a long time also, and with full faith also. It should be infused with the love also. It's not a punishment. Sadhana is not a punishment. Sadhana is out of love for your goal and for the whole knowledge. So correct analysis and investigation. Only then the sapriha can dry up. Vigata sapriha. So both the senses of enjoyership and doership will get sublimated. Only then the ego has gone away. See, in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is not tired of repeating this self-restraint, this discipline, this freedom from the desires. because these are the unavoidable prerequisites for the spiritual growth. We have to have this kind of a quality. Now, last time we were talking about, when we ended the class, Nash Karmya Siddhi. So, because in this verse he talks about Asakt Buddhi, Jitatma, Vigat Sapriya, then Nash Karmya Siddhi. Nash Karmya Siddhi can be reached even among the flow of the world by detaching ourselves from events and outcomes. We don't have to run away from our duties. Simply focusing on the duty, doing the duty for the sake of doing the duty. Get the me out of there. Doing the duty for the sake of duty, just like water is flowing under a bridge. Starts from one side, enters from one side, and flows to the other side. Bridge is neither the recipient of the water nor its distributor. It remains unaffected by its flow. The same way a Karam yogi keeps his mind unaffected by the stream of events. He does not neglect his duties. He definitely puts the best effort into the duties, all the efforts. But at the same time, he remembers that it's a worship for God. Through my duty, all I'm doing is pleasing the Lord. Everything is owned by him. He even leaves the final outcome to God. And that's how he remains undisturbed in success as well as failure. This is a Nashkarmya Siddhi. This is the sannyas in the real sense. Ego only erupts that I am the doer or I am the enjoyer. That is the ego. It erupts only out of ignorance. When we forget our spiritual nature, the doership and enjoyership arises. More ignorant we are, higher the ego then. So ignorant is doing the work also, and a Karam yogi is doing the work also. Action is not different, but the attitude is different. That's what he's teaching us over here. He says actionlessness. Okay, so when the desires are absent, the thought breedings end. Fewer the desires, less the thoughts. And when thoughts dried up, the actions which are coming out of it, they are not called the actions then. Actions are just happening. Because there's no brooding in the thoughts that I have done it, I should get it, I did more than others, I deserve this. All that dries up. And we have all experienced this here and there. We got to learn to be aware of it and make this like a primary go-to place. No matter what I do, I want to do it as a yogi. More and more of our actions, and we can do mundane actions very easily like this. Remember God, you're just doing your duty, that's it. Just take the me and mine out of it. Okay, so let's look at the next verse now. Further growth. Siddhim prapta yatha brahma तथा आपनोति निबोध में समासेन एव कौन्ते निष्ठा ज्ञानस्य या परा. Siddhim, perfection. Praptaha, attained. Yatha means as Brahm, the eternal, the absolute. Tatha means that apnoti, obtains. Nibodh means learn. Me means from me. Samasen, in brief. Ev means even. Konte is Arjuna. Nishtaha, nishtha, the firmness. When you are fully consumed. Jnanasya, of knowledge. Ya means or, para means highest. How he. So now just remember, this verse is connected with the previous verse. So that kind of a person who has those qualities already cultivated, how he who has attained perfection reaches Brahma. In brief, learn from me. O Kante, that supreme state of knowledge. In order to do anything, we need the prerequisites. In order to become one with Brahma also, which is our goal, these are the prerequisites. Whatever he told us in the previous verse. And now he says, learn from me how a person can attain the perfection from there on. So first we have to get purified with the Vigatsa Priha, Jit Atma, Neshkarmya Siddhi. With those qualities, we are purifying ourselves. Because we are trying to merge with the highest, with the purest, with the absolute. We cannot imagine that we have the flaws and we will merge. How can we merge? We have to purify ourselves. So that's why he is telling us how to get one with the Brahma. He says, listen to me. So this is almost like a technique he is giving it to us. That's why I always tell you that Bhagavad Gita is a textbook. Techniques are given to us. It is not something we recite and we remember and we think at the end we will attain perfection. This is a scientific textbook. There are techniques given to us, and these techniques we have to follow throughout our life. And then with these techniques, he's telling us what will you get, and if you don't do it, what will happen to you. That also he's telling us very boldly. The greatest of the great teacher, Lord Krishna himself. These words says they have come from the mouth of Lord Krishna. Each and every word is very important. So the technique is giving. Let's look at what is the technique. Buddhya vishuddhya yukta धृत्या आत्मनम नियम च शब्द आदीन विषयान त्यक्त्वा राग द्वेषो व्युदस्य च. Buddhya, with an intellect. Vishuddhya. See, Shuddh is pure. Vishuddh is completely pure. That means a clarity in the intellect completely. Yuktaha, endowed with. Dhritya, firmness. We talked about this dhriti word earlier in detail. Firmness. Atmanam, the self. Niyame, controlling. This Atmanam. See, sometimes Atma word is used for the mind. Sometimes Atma word is used for the intellect. Sometimes Atma word is used for the ego. Then there's a Atma word for the Atma, absolute also. So you got to remember that. Do not get lost. In Sanskrit, the language is so deep and so scientific. We got to remember that there are multiple meanings of the same word. So because sometimes people say that, oh, Atmanam Niyame, how can we control the Atma? He's not asking us to control the Atma. We are the Atma. He's asking us to control the mind, the lower self. That's what we need to control. Cha means and. Shabd adin, sound, etc. Vishyan, sense objects. Tyaktva, relinquishing, abandoning. Rag dveshau, attraction and hatred. Vyudasya, abandoning. Cha means and. Endowed with a pure intellect. And what is a pure intellect? When the doubts have been removed. Because Sanshya is the one, the doubts are the one which make our intellect impure. Our guru tells us something and then somebody else says something and the doubt comes and there became the muddiness or the impurity of the intellect. So he says, endowed with a pure intellect, controlling the self by firmness, relinquishing sound and other objects, abandoning attraction and hatred. So he doesn't end his technique in this verse. He continues in the next verse. But let's look at this verse itself. So, Vishuddhya. See, doubts, they come from our vasanas also. So, intellect which has been purified of all its tendencies of the joy hunting. Normally, that's what happens. When intellect thinks, no, I'm going to find joy here, I'm going to find joy there, and I'm going to know, not there, maybe there. That is all because of the vasanas. When the intellect has understood the source of joy is within me, it's not in the object, it is in the subject. That means that purity has started to illumine. And outside running here and there, that's all because of the vasanas, temptations. So endowed with pure understanding, Vishuddhya. So we got to work on that. So another way you can see that intellect which is purified of all its extrovert desires. That's one thing he's telling us. Then controlling the mind and the senses with the fortitude. Sanskrit terms for this is sham and the dham. Purify control your senses also, control your mind also. So controlling the sense organs means allowing none of the stimuli. And what are those? Sound, form, touch, taste, or smell. Do not let them infiltrate inside you. Let them be outside. Do not make more and more impressions inside you through the gateways of the ears, eyes, skin, touch, and nose. This is the wall of understanding which we need to build around our mind. So that's why the second thing he's saying, a mind together with the sense organs brought well under the control of this intellect, which has been purified. Because intellect is the one which is deciding. Intellect is the one which is telling the mind, and mind is listening to the intellect now, and intellect is pure. Mind does not run outside through those gateways. Then the sense organs no more controlling the mind. And they don't even want to contact the sense objects. Objects will be there. We cannot throw away all the objects. We cannot run away from the objects. They are there. But my senses, they are not interested in them anymore. It's just like if you go to your grandkids' playroom, you don't have any interest in playing with those toys. You're done with that. You could be there watching them. They are enjoying, but you don't have any interest. The same thing for a yogi in this world. He doesn't say this world is useless. So useful, not for me now. I have a different agenda. Then he says, a mind that has given up its ideas of likes and dislikes also. Rag dvesho vyudasya. Lord Krishna has been explaining how by performing our duties in the proper consciousness, we can attain perfection. But in this particular verse, he's describing the excellence that is required for the perfection of Brahma realization. So this is the technique we need to adopt if we want to become one with the Brahma. But if we are not interested in that, then we don't have to. Okay, so he says that state of perfection we develop with a purified intellect that is established in transcendental knowledge. Mind is controlled due to not indulging in likes and dislikes. Okay, then he says, continuation of that verse, because this is the technique he's giving us. So we got to make sure that we go through the next verse also today. विविक्त सेवी लघवाशी यत वाक काय मानसः ध्यान योग परा नित्यम वैराग्यम सम उपाश्रिता. विविक्त सेवी, dwelling in solitude. More and more time between you and your Lord. Vivikt sevi. Lagvashi, eating but little. Eating just to keep this body intact. Not for the likes and the dislikes. Yat, vak, kai, manasa, speech, body and mind subdued. These are the instruments given to me. Power to speak, that's vak. Kaya, body. Manas, the mind. Dhyan yog para, engaged in meditation and concentration. Nityam, always. Vairagyam, dispassion. Samupashrita, taking refuge in. Dwelling in solitude. Preferring me time more. Instead of running outside, I'm getting bored. I need to do this, meet this person, go there, here. No, yogi says, I got to just connect with my higher self. Dwelling in solitude, eating but a little. Speech, body, and mind subdued. Always engaged in meditation. See, if we have never done a sitting down meditation, how can we always meditate? He is telling us meditating even while walking, while working, while sleeping, while talking. Always meditating. Part of the mind, always connected with God. Taking refuge in dispassion, detachment. See, we have taken refuge in attachment. We think that we can't even love somebody without getting attached. Attachment, attachment, attachment. He is teaching us, take refuge in detachment. Let's look at the first one, Vivikt Sevi. See, if we start doing it, maybe not all the time, but spend some time a day, you will see that there's a least disturbance. No TV, no phone, just you in your altar room. Slowly you will see that there's no disturbance. From outside also, that inside disturbance also, it will go away, you will see. But you got to practice. Initially, maybe you're not used to sitting by yourself. You always need some kind of a sound, whether it's a TV or a YouTube or whatever. Just disconnect for some time and enjoy the peacefulness, which is your real nature. That's what he is saying. Dwelling in solitude. He's not telling us to just run into the caves and the jungles. Under our own roof, inside our own beautiful warm homes, enjoy the solitude. Eating, he's not saying that don't eat at all. Lagvashi, eating but a little. Okay? We know that that is a healthy way of living. The body functions better. We definitely have to eat, but moderation and controlling speech, body, and mind. That means discipline your actions, regulate your perception, eliminate the egocentric attitude in all perceptions, in all our relationships with the world of object. That is what he's advising us. He's not saying don't use these tools. These are beautiful tools given to us by God, but use them. Power to speech. Power to speak is this speech which we call is very powerful. Use it properly. This body, which is a temple for us, keep it as a temple. Don't make it a mud house. And this mind also. So that's what controlling really means. Does not mean that don't use it properly, use it as a tool. Ever engaged. And then if we do this, meditation is a second nature then. It's not hard to meditate. But if we don't understand this outer technique, then meditation becomes just such a big word for us. So learn to restrain your senses, impulses of the body and the speech. See, we speak impulsively. We think impulsively. Out of the reaction, we just do it. Most of the time, don't they say that your life is what is happening to you 10% and 90% is your reaction? Reaction. That is impulsiveness. Either we just fly up or we just go into depression. That's all impulsiveness. He's saying that maintain this properly. Do it wisely. And divert the mind from the world of sense objects and maintain it in a steady flow of contemplation of the Lord. In an utter attitude of identification with the Lord. That's meditation. See, right now, without even paying any attention, we are thinking about the world. We got to develop a habit that without any effort, we are just thinking about God. We have to switch it around. Instead of contemplating on the world, contemplate on the Lord. And then you see the beauty of this life. Body will function better. Mind will stay calmer. Decisions will be better. Life will be like a yogi's life. Steadily in a state of such an all-consuming dedication into a nobler and a higher ideal is the method he's teaching us. He says such a yogi is deeply contemplative. And that's why this yogi prefers solitude. ego and its lust for power and prestige, they are dissolved. And that's where this possessed of dispassion comes, vairagya. The essence of dispassion, we got to understand. The essence of dispassion is not in our running away from the objects. Dispassion is utterly necessary, because without dispassion, mind will never grow, because growth of the mind depends upon its capacity to outgrow itself from its present state. If you want to just enlarge our horizon, we got to let go. It's almost like if I want to walk, I got to let go of one foot. Or if I'm climbing on the stair, I got to let go of my foot. Only then I can climb. The same way for this growth also, we got to let go of these lower terrains. Because at any given moment, watch your mind. Watch your mind. What is it doing? Then control it. Okay? When mind grows, it automatically leaves these lower areas. Or as I was saying earlier, the old toys behind. And it just enters into a greater field of a nobler gain of life. And then let's look at one more verse and then we'll stop. And then I'll try to, if you have any questions, I'll go through the question answer. And then at the end, I'm sure many will like to sing a bhajan. So further, he is saying some more qualities we need to cultivate. Because in the preceding verses, he is indicating the things that are to be acquired and brought into relatively outer surface of the meditator's personality. But now there are some things we need to renounce from the inner core also. So not just outside, inside. So it's a constant work in the outer area and the inner area. So just like we clean the house inside also, we clean the house outside also. Or when we wash a pot, we wash it inside also and we wash it outside also. Only then it's completely clean. So that's what he's telling us, that the inner part also. He says, ahankaram, balam darpam, kamam, krodham, parigraham, vimuchye nirmamah shantaha, brahma bhuyaye kalpate. Ahankaram, egoism. Balam, strength. Darpam, arrogance. Kamam, desire. Krodham, anger. Parigraham, parigraha, that is a holding. Parigraha. That's why one of the qualities in a yogi, a parigraha, non-holding. Vimuchye, having abandoned. Nirmama, without mindness. Nirmam. Shant, peaceful. Brahmbhuyai, for becoming Brahm. Kalpate, fit. Even after all these qualities, he says, you are fit to become a Brahm. You are not Brahm yet. Fit to Brahm. So that's why these are the qualifications we need to cultivate. So having abandoned egoism, power, arrogance, desire, anger, holdingness, and freed from the notion of mind and so peaceful, he is fit to become Brahm. Okay? It's just like a student passes the high school, gets the good SAT, ACT scores, is ready to enroll into a school. So these are the qualifications, prerequisites to become Brahman. So from the inner core of the meditator's personality, these qualities need to be cultivated. So he is enumerating all the items over here. See, we have a wrong notion, like a I act, I do mentality. So this is what ego is. I do. And when we say that I do, that's where this bal comes from. I have a strength. That's how the passions and the desires, they keep on multiplying. A very powerful ego will succeed into pride and arrogance, darp. That's what that arrogance word is. We have gone through these technical terms in the previous verses also, previous chapters also. So constantly he's telling us, pay attention to these. These are some of the things which will bring us down. Pay attention to it. Do not come under their sway. Constantly engage the mind in transcending these urges. Only then a person becomes tranquil, free from the bonds of desires, anger, and greed. Such a yogi attains realization of the absolute truth, Brahman. So there are 6 items he has listed over here. And these 6 are nothing but the manifestations of ahankar. See? Bal, darp, kam, krodh, parigrah. And mindness, ahankar. So when we abandon these, immediately we become peaceful. Peaceful. That's why he said shant over here. The shanti comes from abandoning all these. If we think that our mind is turbulent all the time, it's restless all the time, we are stressed all the time, anxiety has really overtaken us, we got to watch why. Look at the desires. Because desires, excessive desires, they'll give you anger. Excessive desires, you just think that it's mine. I don't want to let it go. I worked hard. And that's where the anxiety comes from, the stress comes from. He's talking about our mind over here. And he's telling us how to make from an ordinary mind to a yogi's mind. Okay, so having abundant egoism, power, arrogance, desire, anger, and hoarding. Freed from the notion of mine. Because nothing is ours. If you look at it, is there anything ours? Nothing is ours. We are only the custodian of it. We're taking care of it. Take care of it, use it. Definitely God has given us to use it. He did not give it to us so that we just think that it's ours. Ours is only Him, God. Shanti will come. This is the way. This is the only way. All the saints and sages, they have repeatedly said the same thing, maybe in different language, different ways, but the same exactly truth. And this is not a peace of the grave. This is the peace that arises out of the fullness of wisdom, out of our absolute satisfaction experienced in the realm of perfection. That is the peace. Because all the restlessness is caused by the ego and its onward rush, which he talked about in this verse. Because this ego wants to rush into these finite objects and wants to get satisfaction out of these finite objects where it doesn't exist. So we got to retract. So just I want you to understand before we end the class that he says if you cultivate these qualities, if you keep a disciplined life, you will become fit to become Brahman. Okay. So it's like a preliminary preparation for the final realization. And next week we'll see in verse number 54, what is the next stage of development. This week, try to contemplate on this. Anger. If nothing else, look at the anger. How easily I get angry. And anger is not just a outburst only, little agitation in the mind, little disturbance in the mind, restlessness in the mind. And look at it, how much time you spend in solitude. Do you enjoy that, or does that disturb you? Solitude. What kind of a desires I have? In the quiet moment, look at it. What is in my mind? What kind of a desires? This is what we need to study right now. Study ourselves. That's what he's teaching us. So any question? So it's 10:20, 11:20, I'm sorry. And if there's any question, I can try to talk about that or make an effort.
Thank you. What a wonderful class, Ma. Thank you.
Okay, Vidhi. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So Jonathan, you have a question?
Probably Sujata. So just.
Oh, Sujata has a question. Okay, Sujata.
No, I don't have a question. No, I'm fine.
You
Yeah.
unmuted,
Okay.
so I thought you had a question.
Sorry,
Okay.
that was a mistake.
All right. No, I think you all are practicing for so long, so I'm sure it's like a second nature to you guys, right? No? Robert says no. It will be. We got to just stay at it, right? Keep on doing what we need to do, and it will become
Practice.
first
and more
nature.
practice.
Our original nature.
I have to learn a lot.
Yeah, actually, we all are on the same. It's not just you alone. We all are. We just keep on growing, keep on growing. We got to have faith in three things. If we have that faith, don't you, ever since you were little, you heard that with faith, you can move the mountains?
Yes.
This is what it is. Faith in yourself first. Faith in the teachings and faith in the teacher. If we have that, it doesn't take much to
That's
attain.
true. Yeah, I have to create faith in myself.
Yeah, you got to create faith. Yes, definitely. And because a lot of people, they have doubt that, hey, no, I cannot do it. Others did it. Or yogis are something, they come from some other planet. No, we all, this philosophy says, Lord Krishna says again and again, we are all part of God. All.
Yes.
He says not only human beings, he says even the plants and the animals and a bug and a cow.
Yeah.
Everybody, even among human beings, sometimes we think some are lower and higher. No, everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody is part of him. So we got to believe in that. We got to wholeheartedly believe in that. And then just, but our job doesn't end there. That's why he keeps on telling us all these disciplines we need to cultivate. Okay, so just a step at a time.
Yeah, and thank you.
Yeah, no, have faith in yourself, definitely. That's why meeting every day in these classes, we just we get encouraged, we encourage. So it's just or weekly if we come, but regularity is important.
That's true.
Regularity is very important. Okay, anybody else, Jyoti? No question.
You were talking about solitude. Originally, I was working on it, but now I enjoy the solitude, and I have worked at it and I enjoy the peace.
Good, good. See, it
I
just-
enjoy the peace.
So this is initially, if a person has never done it, then it's like always trying something new. You don't want to change. But if you believe in it, that's why I said believing in a teaching and believing in the teacher and believing in yourself. When you wed all these three together, then you just see the result much faster.
Yes.
Good. I'm glad, Pramila. That's good.
Yes. It has brought a lot of peace.
Good.
A lot of peace. Thank you, Arshi.
Yeah, definitely. Okay,
Thank
if
you.
nobody has a question, then I'll ask Manny to sing a bhajan for us.
Hersh,
Please.
can I just say a reminder for the workshop sign up?
Yes,
It's
please.
this coming weekend, everybody, or those who didn't sign up.
Yes,
just
Saturday.
a
And I
reminder.
think the email went with a
Yesterday.
wrong timing. It said 11 to 1. I think it's 11 to 2.
2. Oh, okay.
Email went with the wrong timing.
11 to 1 didn't check it out again. Maybe I'm mistaken. But
Okay.
it's a 3-hour retreat, not 2-hour retreat.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
So 11 to 2, because normally we did
Yeah, 10 from 10:30. So we switched
Okay.
to
yeah
11.
10:30 to 1:30 we did. So
And,
this
okay,
time we
we'll
have
correct
changed
that,
it.
but please do respond by Friday, Thursday, right, Jyoti?
Yes,
please.
Thursday. Yeah,
So that we
please let
can
us know.
organize the whole thing here.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yeah, then you'll have the link. Everybody will get a link from Jyoti, and you log on to that, and we'll have a retreat. And we're going to try to do that retreat every month. Maybe we can start doing it the last Saturday of the month.
Last
Because
Saturday.
otherwise, this book is a long book. I want to finish it and teach you something else too. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, should I start then? Okay.
Sure. Please. Thank you, Manny.
सारे जहां के मालिक तेरा ही आसरा है, राजी है हम उसी में जिसमें तेरी रजा है। सारे जहां के मालिक तेरा ही